Good afternoon guys, James here from Sunseeker Southampton, down in a very sunny Swanwick marina, where today we're going to run out a new listing to market, which is a 2017 Axopar 37 cabin. She's behind me here in the water, looking absolutely lovely in the sunshine. Two owners from new, kept over in Lymington with the first owner, came across here briefly for sale, and we sold her to the current owners, and she then went back to Lymington. Was ashore here earlier in the spring when we polished the hull. Engines were serviced by the Mercury main dealer. She's got a full service history from new and a lovely spec with those potent 300 horsepower Mercury 2.6 litre supercharged inline 6 engines there on the back. So we're going to run her out today so you can see what she's like out in open water, a little bit of close quarters handling, and a chance just to check out the spec in a bit more detail. So she's going live online, £189,950 UK tax paid. These in a slightly updated cross cabin version now are running about £270,000 for a new boat, and you're into October 2022 for an open spec new order. So great value for money. Lots of owners considering to take these older boats as a stopgap till they get a new one, or coming up from ribs and what have you. Offers the perfect blend of weekend accommodation. We've got 2 beds in the front there with a usable toilet. We've got this lovely enclosed wheelhouse with diesel heating. We've got an active CME radar reflector, AIS system. It's very nicely spec'd. First owner was a very long-term boat owner, having had lots of larger yachts before, really knew what he wanted. Elected not to go for the aft cabin option, so she's got the bench seat and the big storage lockers in the cockpit here. Perfect for a couple on the water, as it does give lots of storage for paddle boards, space for fishing equipment and that kind of thing. So we're just going to step on, we'll do a quick start up and we'll be off down the river. So coming inside, battery switches are down here under the aft seat, and we've just got, you can see, start and auxiliary batteries for the different systems on the boat. Engines are just down here. We have a kill cord obviously that we'll be wearing today. Throttle's into neutral and the boat should fire straight into life. They're very quiet engines, these modern Mercury outboards. Very fuel efficient, and we'll be able to check all of that out on the vessel view screen here today when we're out and running. So spec wise, we've got 2 12-inch Garmin chart plotters here, which are just powering into life, which gives us the option for things like chart and radar depth. We've got a remote control for our bow thruster and anchor winch up here. Got remote control spotlight, tilt helm so we can get the wheel in a nice comfy position, DSC VHF handset, bow thruster control on the dash as well as the remote, trim tabs, optional 7-inch Mercury vessel view screen there giving us all the engine parameters. We've got trim and can actually do the charts and what have you as well. And then underneath here we've got a remote control for the Fusion stereo and Mercury's active trim system, which is really useful when you're up and running. Saves about 10% on the fuel over what you typically achieve as a helmsman yourself, and I'll demonstrate how that works today. So last but no means least, up in the roof here, so we've got things like the diesel powered Webasto heating system with outlets to demist in the screen. We've got a manual sliding roof system here which we'll open up in a bit. So we'll have a little bit better look as we get off the dock and away. So we've just dropped our spring lines off. We're going to leave some fenders here on the dock. It's got lots of fenders for both sides. It's just going to drop the lines off bow and stern and we'll be away. Okay, Stu. So engines are running here just so you can hear the noise. Me stood next to them with the microphone. Very quiet. Say 2.6 litre inline 6 engines. The same engine through from 200 to 400 horsepower, so very under stress there with 300 horsepower. We're electric hydraulic steering, so you can see one finger movement on the wheel here. Okay, so Stu's just taking the lines off. Obviously the nice thing with the cabin here is we've got these cleats right next to where we are at the helm, so just a little bit of bow thruster to take us off the dock here. We'll use the wind just to drift us off the mooring. So the wind's coming, see on the flags there, blowing us broadside here. So it just makes things nice and easy. I'm not going to put my kill cord on just yet because I might need to leave the helm just to do a little bit of sorting ropes and what have you out. So I'm just putting my port engine momentarily there into reverse just to kick the back round, and we're off. So very sunny day here on the Hamble, perfect boating weather for winter here. With the advantage of this lovely windscreen and the heating system, we can sit in this lovely saloon area here with the heating on, and we can be in Cowes 20 minutes from the bottom of the river. Boat runs just over 40 knots flat out, but very nice cruise about 30 knots. We'll have a play around with all of that today just to show you what she's like out on the water. So we've got things like fuel burn up here, and if we just go through some of the screens here, so we're reading just over 218 hours. Obviously that's going to creep up a little bit with us going out for a ride today. So we've got wipers tucked up underneath the roof line there with a washer system, so great if it's a salty day and it's drying immediately onto the screen. We'll pop the roof open in a bit and you can see what the boat's like out on open water. So obviously just check nobody's coming as we creep out here into the river. All looks good. We head off down the river. So hugely successful model for Axopar. These were around since about 2015, and it's guys that we see here through to 2020 when they brought out the cross cabin, which is the current model today. Lots of little changes to the boat, but fundamentally the product worked very well from the outset, so it was refinements rather than total redesign on the boat. So with the nice big heads-up display here with the two 12-inch screens, we obviously got lots of options of what we want to show on the screens themselves, but we can go into things like the radar here. So we can run a radar and a chart plotter alongside each other. We can overlay the radar onto the chart. It's very versatile, and being a nice colour unit there, you can see obviously the targets all around us in the river channel itself. Some lights in here, so we can put some of these on. You can see we've got ambient LED strip lighting around there, as well as the little spotlights up in the roof, and the same back there, the aft end of the cabin itself. This was a high-spec boat originally, very little really to add, if anything, if you wanted to even improve it going forward. I'd say perhaps something like a dinghy inflator socket in the aft cockpit for paddle boards if you don't want the faff of blowing them up by hand, but apart from that I'd say it's very nicely spec'd. Say full service history from new. We've known the boat now for several years, and presents great value and a rare opportunity. If you want to get out on the water on the 2021/22 season, there are very few boats out there this time of year that are coming up for sale. Okay, so whilst we're just heading down the river, we'll have a look around the boat itself. So we've got flexi-teak decking running around the boat. We've got low-level blue LED lights there along the deck themselves, and if I just drop down with the camera you can see how deep these bulwarks are. So we've got really nice solid stainless rails, very durable, feels very safe if you've got kids and dogs and what have you. It's a proper walk-around design, hence why they work so well. We've got the AV system, as you saw down in the cabin, which gives us speakers also as an upgrade here on the foredeck and up on the aft cockpit as well. Up in the nose itself, we've got electric anchor winch, which was a factory option. Shorepower lead tucked in there, and space to put ropes and fenders, what have you. It's a leaded line on the anchor rather than a chain, which is something that's come along on the later boats. But we do have a nice ultra anchor, stainless steel up forward there, little pennant flag holder there. So diesel hot, obviously, tank for the Webasto heating system. Big sunbed, fixed sunbed on the front of this, slightly different to the new models, with a lift up hatch here, so you can actually put things down into the forward cabin straight on top of the bed if you wish. The fabric is a Silvertex in sort of a dark browny grey colour. Looks nice in the sun here, and you can see you've got this double diamond stitch. See a few watermarks on the cushions, but still very serviceable just at that time of year now, end of season, wear the boat. Great shine on the gel coat still. Say, just look down the side at the grey hull. So we gave this all a polish early season, still looking very nice, not expensive to do again when the need arises. So back here in the cockpit, we've got the pull-out whale twist shower, the little secondary ensign holder, although there is one up on the roof, say speakers in the aft. And we've got storage lockers, that's a hand build pump in there, and you'll see nice finish on the inside of the things like the locker lids and the lockers themselves. And then over this side you can see we've got a couple of fenders stowed in there, as well as the handheld fire extinguisher. Advantage obviously with a bench seat rather than an aft cabin design is you gain the additional storage box here, so great for storing fishing equipment, say, and general water sports stuff, as well as these giant underdeck lockers. So if we just pop these up, you can see how much storage there is. So fantastic for paddle boards, little portable generator, portable barbecues, drop down director's chairs, that kind of thing, really useful. Centre build section there runs the battery compartment, and then you've got access in the back here through to things like the steering pump, have you, for the engines. Nice thing with this synthetic teak decking is obviously very soft for dive bottles, dog claws, that sort of thing. It's a good purchase on it, and it runs all the way back to the bathing platforms there either side of the engines. So we've got the stainless steel double width towing frame there on the top with a ski eye, which is an option. Again, it's really nice just to give you something secure to hold onto when you're walking around the boat. And then up top, so you've got centre ensign staff holder, we've got the semi-active reflector in the middle there, as well as the spotlight, radar dome, and we've got 2 VHF aerials. The rails up on the roof were a factory optional upgrade, and that again gives somewhere to strap your bits and pieces. You can make up some crossbars to go on there, and also gives a handy handrail for security when you're walking around if you're out in big seas. Not really needed on this boat because it doesn't have the wet bar, but this is a lift up section, so there's a couple of little clips that come out, and this lifts up about 45 degrees just to give you a bit more headroom in the aft. Just imagine sitting here on the back bench seat. I'm very protected from the elements. If we were sat at anchor now, to stay out of the wind, nice place for fishing, or even if we were out doing some water sports, you can see we've got great visibility, towing donuts and water skis and what have you. There's a rail up underneath the roof there, so loads of handholds to grab when you're out and about. So we come back inside, you'll notice the doors obviously both sides here, big opening aperture, very easy to get in and out. Step down in here. The boat had the optional teak flooring inside as well, which is underneath the carpets. These are easy to take out and pressure wash when required. And then forward into the effectively the accommodation area, we've got that lift up hatch. You'll notice a reduction in the deck height here above us, but we gain a lovely big double bed here. These are cushions for the aft bench seat back in the cockpit. A little blind that drops down here for privacy. Opening port lights. So some custom touches by the first owner. So we've got the microwave up on the top. There's an inverter system built in, so that will actually work away from the dock. Good size compact wardrobe there. You've got a electric flush Jabsco toilet. You can see there's a little holding tank display there as well, so that's quite a nice little touch. Again, the teak flooring running underneath all of these covers. There's a little electric coffee machine there, which again is designed to work off the inverter system, and we've got the storage area there underneath. Freshwater cold sink, so the boat only has cold running water for the aft shower and the sink in here. Diesel heating control up on the wall there. We've got plug socket there, as well as some 12 volt input there for the fusion if you're still using a wired connection. Otherwise it's Bluetooth and it'll work with your phone. So we've got heating outlets low level in here, as well as here in the cabin. Underneath the helm seat, stainless steel fridge. And then not having the access to the aft cabin means that this whole bench seat arrangement in the back here gives you this lovely big storage locker. We have actually plumbed second fridges in there, big 12 volt cool boxes or just general storage equipment. Step folds over there, give a little bit more access on the seat. And then the table itself, so this is an up and down leg arrangement that will actually drop down. The boat doesn't have from factory cushions, but we could make a couple of cushions easy enough, and that would give you the option to turn this into an occasional double bed. Some basic extra legs put in this end just to support the tabletop when it's open, and it would give you then space to sleep 4 if you had a couple of kids on here wanting to stay out for the weekends and what have you. Tucked underneath the bags here, we've also got in deck little storage locker under there, and this is a big storage locker underneath this starboard seating, as well as you can see the speakers for the AV. And then the seats themselves are on rotating basis here, so we can spin this around 180, and these two then give you somewhere for dining. I'll cut a picture in here just to show how that works. Helm seats themselves have got a little lift up bolster, so whether you're stood at the helm or drop the seat down, you've got the two options how to configure depending on your height and the weather and what have you. So that's us done for a quick look round. We'll check back in a bit when we're down the bottom of the river, and we'll get up and running, get the drone out, show you what she's like out at sea. So here we are down at the bottom of the Hamble River. Speeds up here in the top right hand corner, got a kill cord clipped on, and I've just popped the roof open as well and get a feel for what the boat's like when you want it open. So we're just going to ease up on the throttle there. You can see the boat stays very level as it comes out of the water. Supercharger's kicking in and we're up north of 20 knots almost immediately. Very, very slick boat. See, I'll speed up to about 29 knots. This is where I see it as a good cruise speed. 30 knots would be down to pull in a little over an hour and a quarter. Now if we were to put the active trim system on here, run that in the middle, which is setting 3 of 5, that's now actually trimming the boat on the engines. And you can see that's keeping it absolutely dead level, no trim tabs needed at all, and it's very, very fuel efficient. A speed limit in Southampton Water here 40 knots, so I'm not going to exceed that for too much longer, but I'm just going to turn all of the controls on for a sec. trimmed the boat down so the engines are all the way in. And whilst it's clear here in Southampton water, we'll just do some turns. You'll see how grippy the boat is. The water here, we're still doing north of 30 knots. Back the other way, you can almost get the rails in the water. They're very, very, very cool boats to drive. And you see how quickly that speed picks up as soon as we come out of the turn, lose the cavitation, it's back up immediately, 30 knots. Bury the throttles, and it's got a load of mid-range torque there, and it'll be off up 40 knots and climbing. I say we've got a speed limit here, so I'm not going to run it absolutely flat out to see what we can get out of her, but we're running there instantly up 44 knots, fully trimmed in. I'd say we get about 45.5, 46 knots flat out when required. Now obviously the benefit of the sliding doors, if we want to be a little bit more sedate with those doors shut now, we've enclosed the boat, we haven't got any wind buffeting now, and it's quite a quiet place to be. If I just trim the boat up, just take some of the slamming off the hull. Got this nasty, typical Southampton water chop here. You see the view out the back there. We've got some wash here from the red funnel ferry in a minute. That will give us a good chance to test what the boat's like. Just check there's nobody around behind us. So you can see we're doing just over 30 knots here. We're just approaching the red jet wash. I'm not going to do anything with the trim. I'm just going to let the boat work its way through the trim. There we go, over the... Absolutely effortless. We'll try and come around and back over that just so you can see what it's like from a different angle. So we're going back over it now. We've increased the speed up to 36 knots. Back over it again here. Very, very smooth. So we're just going to take the boat back off the plane and get the drone set up. We'll do some running shots of the boat from the outside.
So here you can see a nice shot from the nose as we're just coming along around 22 knots here. You can see how level that hull rides. Twin step, 20-degree dead rise on these hulls. This particular one, as you can see now, with that lovely grey hull band as well, which was a factory option back when the boat was supplied new, and black anti-foul underneath. You'll notice up on the nose there's a carbon fibre bow protector on there as well to protect when the anchor is launched and recovered. And there's a nice little shot to finish off, just showing the boat from the stern profile with those lovely white engines. Something new here, I just stuck a camera on the back of the boat. When we're out running, you can see those turns we were doing from the helm earlier. Just a chance to see a different angle and how little movement there is actually on the boat as it's going over the waves. It's a very sure-footed ride. You can see the grip in the turns there, banking over from beam to beam. Really, really exciting boat to drive.
So I hope you enjoyed that fly around with the drone. Just back into the river here and approaching our berth back here at Swanwick. Now the boat could stay here in the marina if you wanted to keep her locally. Alternatively, I'm sure we could get you a mooring back in Burthons where she used to be over in Lymington. So we're just going to come down the fairway here, spin round 180 degrees, and then we'll back the boat in. She's going to sit in that gap down the end there. Just turn our radar off now that we're coming back in alongside, so you can see how the nav system, how accurate it is. It shows where the boat's been moored up before. Quick check on the bow thruster just to make sure that works. So whilst we're coming up the river, we put the ropes and fenders back out. there, and hopefully you'll be able to see what we're doing with the docking. So as always, everything's just nice and slow, very, very gentle. A one touch in and out of gear control is very easy to make fine adjustments, and we're just going to drift in. We've got the wind on our nose just coming across here, so once we come broadside we'll actually be sat sideways on in the wind pretty much. So you stand fairly far forward in one of these, you just got to remember there's a lot of boat behind you. So I'm just going to put steering over. And use that. Go to the next one, Stu. That's us in. Let's pull the bow in so that he can grab the line there. And we can switch off. So that's us back in. Hope you've enjoyed the look round with us. If you'd like to know any more, she'll be up online in the next few days up on the Sunseeker Brokerage website, but in the interim, if you'd like any more info, please get in touch directly. It's james@sunseekersouthampton.com, or mobile is +44 7747 686 587. Hope you've enjoyed that with us as always. Check back soon for the latest listings across the group.